the Powell family, just in my honest opinion, is like the Forest Gump of the industry.
Oh wow!
It's like, you know how you remember Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was
Right.
like he was like that figure, that silent figure that goes through history.
Right.
He's at JFK. I mean, every turn of
just everywhere
history,
you see him, he's right.
It was
there,
just
right?
he was in everything. He's in every turn of history. Forrest Gump had something to do with
Yeah,
it.
do something.
And I feel like that translates to the Powell family in that. If you look at from the secular, because you think about the Wood, Brass, and Steel to Sugar Hill Records to all of that stuff and how it like coincided with the hip hop and the rise of that, and to know that this band was like the centralized thing and they didn't get the credit for it, they didn't get the light shined on them, and they were literally the bed that the whole industry laid on, which is the music, and they weren't. You know what I'm saying? And so you got that level of influence that your pop was a part of that whole regime that influenced that to go straight into, now he flips into gospel and gets saved, becomes a pastor, gets into that world, and now he's influencing every gospel artist.
A whole nother genre who really didn't even know what his influence was before then. Because see, a lot of people in gospel, they talk about the gospel truth. They talk about the For Your Ears Only, his earlier, solo records where he was jazz and everything, gospel jazz. But they don't know where it derived from.
Right.
They just don't. They don't even know the secular side. They don't even know where he was traveling. He was a teenager and he was traveling, opening up for Richard Groove Holmes. And they traveled with 2 organs.
Wow.
And Richard Groove Holmes is who Joey DeFrancesco.
Yeah, Joey. Yeah.
Joey DeFrancesco patterned a lot of his playing. Joey McGriff and Richard Groove Holmes is who, Joey was, like, he was my favorite.
He was studying.
My dad traveled with Richard Groove Holmes, and he would open for them, and then sometimes they would go back and forth on stage.
Nuts, bro.
And so when he finished doing all that and he got saved, he influenced a whole nother, side of the music industry who really didn't even know. A lot of them didn't even know because they really wasn't hip to that side. They didn't know that, he really came off the road, like quit the band.
Yeah.
New Year's, his New Year's resolution was, I'm quitting this band. They had the highest paid gig of the year.
Yeah. And he just said, I'm
all
out.
about to drop it. He said, this is my last gig.
I'm out.
I'm going home. And he went home and immediately started influencing a whole nother side of the music.
That's crazy,
industry.
bro.
And that's that's the favor of God. But what I think with my dad, one of the greatest things about his story is that he didn't compromise.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? When he was influencing them, he didn't compromise. He didn't try to find ways to justify. He would often say, when I was doing this and I was doing that, I knew I was wrong. And this ain't about, we ain't talking about what's right or wrong, because everybody got their opinions and whatever you want to do is what you want to do. But, at the end of the day, there's only one way.
Exactly.
So my dad, and, I'm talking to those that believe, of course, I'm talking to the believers, but at the end of the day, my dad was like, look, when I was playing in the clubs with a cocaine spoon around my neck, I knew I was wrong. I ain't try to justify it. So, I say that to say he really honed in on making a difference. He really honed in on, like, look, I'm not about to compromise. This is it. I'm not doing that no more. I'm doing this. And then the Lord gave him the, one of the inspirations or the revelations to really infuse what he loved the most, which is jazz music, and do gospel his way. That's where me and Dobie and Uncle Ivan and a lot of, greats, that's where we got our chord structures from. Because we didn't hear a lot of those chord structures being played in church. Before him, it wasn't a lot of that being played in church.
Bro.
Nobody knew how to play I will make the darkness light before the, like what he was doing. Nobody knew how to do it like that before him.
Nah, bro.
So it was just like
that's why I say even that I'll go in Jesus' name flipped it for me, because like I remember the original version.
Yeah.
And then when I heard
Bishop Hez,
because I remember hearing it because you hear Hez version, you're like, I will go in Jesus' name, you like that. But then it's like when you hear that, boom, and you like, yo,
and then
I
like
didn't know
the
those chords.
reharmonize, I will go in Jesus' name. He was doing some crazy. You know,
it's like when you
hearing
that,
stuff,
you like, I didn't know that those chords existed.
You never, you
never thought about
it
that. You didn't hear it like that.
You didn't hear it in that way, and that's just
And that was his But but here's the thing. For me personally, I didn't know that was Hubert Powell until you guys started popping up on the scene, like you and Dobie, and I really started tapping into what y'all were doing, and then I finally made the connection. Okay, that pops is Hubert Powell. Boom. Blah, blah, blah. One day, I don't even know when this was. Probably several years ago. I'm just randomly searching the internet and I'm typing in because I'm curious. If you going down the pipeline, Dobie Powell, Kevin Powell, Billy Powell, Ivan Powell, Hubert Powell. Who's Hubert Powell? And I type in it, and I will go in Jesus' name pops up, bro. I just.
Yeah, he was nominated for a Stella and a Dove Award, I think, for those records. And he went up against what we consider him his like protege, which was Ben Tankard.
Yeah.
You know, they went up against each other, and I think Ben Tankard beat him by like a cat's hair or something. Yeah. But my dad never let. He was happy because even it's crazy to think that even at that time with that record, my dad had been pastoring almost 10 years.
Wow.
So he had actually retired from, he did the gospel truth stuff. Yeah. He kept doing music even, when he had started pastoring, but he really knew that his call was to pastor. So he had to really like carve out time to do those records. And back then he was still signed to a record label, that was actually giving him, back in those days, record labels, they were a little bit more. They were a little different than what they are today.
Yeah, there was more money on the table too.
Yeah, they gave him an advance, so he was like, "Well, hey, I think I can do this record."
Yeah.
So he got, he let Dobie come in and help him. Dobie was still in high school, I think, at the time. But he let Dobie come in and help him and do things, and he was fully retired out of the music industry.
Yeah.
At that time, he just did that record because it was like, look, I want to do it. You know, it's time. Like I haven't done anything in a while.
I'm excited to reveal something game-changing for us and for you as producers and musicians. I want to introduce to you Peculiar Sounds version 2. We've introduced standalone mode, allowing you to use it independently from any DAW. You can now blend up to 2 sounds to create rich and complex textures. We added in 2 brand new effects, the Lo-Fizer and the Mod Filter. The Lo-Fizer gives you instant lo-fi vibes with just a button, while the Mod Filter adds dynamic movement and flow to any sound you apply to. And we also added the innovative new MIDI browser that provides you with hundreds of chord progressions, melodies, and drum loop MIDI files that you can drag straight into your DAW. And as a bonus, V2 now includes Sounds Off the Block expansion for totally free, bringing the total to over 400 patches. So as you can see, Peculiar Sounds V2 is not just an update, it's a revolutionary new plugin. So make sure you check the website right now and you can get your hands on this game-changing plugin.
Let's
just
go.
How he poured into, like you said, letting Dobie come in and co-produce at that age, and then the way he poured into you guys, and he literally just stamped you guys with his whole DNA.
Oh yeah.
And then you guys have taken it and multiplied it 10x.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? To what he is.
Trying to continue the legacy, man.
Oh man, no, y'all.
And the legacy, and like I tell people all the time, a lot of people don't know my mom is so mild mannered. When it comes to music, but she studied piano.
I heard Jay. She wasn't no slouch.
She ain't no slouch.
No,
when she married my dad, she knew she ain't have to worry about playing.
Yeah.
But she went to college. She could sight read at one point, and
wow.
She's an amazing singer and all that stuff. So like we pick up a lot of that musical geniustic ways from my mom as well.
That's crazy.
She wasn't no slouch. She ain't no slouch.
Yeah.
She be acting like she can't sing now, but because she feel like she's got a few years older.
Nah.
But listen, my mom is still a powerhouse.
Wow, bro.
Whenever she feel like it, she's a powerhouse. But yeah, she, it was in her too. So it still is in her too. So it's just like, we try to keep the legacy alive, man.
And I love it because, like I said, you guys have. It's like I said again, Forest Gump is the best analogy I can give, because like at every turn, because even when you cross into to Dobie and even what you're doing, but I think even to go back to Dobie just to park there for a second, how he's been that. I know this wouldn't be like, it's not gonna sit well with some people when I say it this way, but I put Dobie like in that same category as like a Jay Dilla type figure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't understand anybody that would get upset at that.
Yeah, I've said it to a couple people.
What Jay Dilla has done for the rap and for the R&B, for the neo soul, for that type of and for that industry.
Yeah.
And this is what Dobie has done for gospel. And it's crazy.
And not just gospel, even that R&B type.
Yeah,
I run across people. Troy Taylor.
Yeah,
Troy Taylor. I mean, he grew up in Connecticut too.
He's from Connecticut. My dad gave him his first synthesizer.
Bruh.
This is stuff that people don't know. You talk about Troy Taylor working with Rihanna and Chris Brown and all these people.
Hubert Powell is there.
My father gave him his first synthesizer. He still has it. He sent us a picture the other day. Like, when my pops passed, he sent us a picture. He's like, man, I still have this. He gave this to me, and I'll never forget it. So it's like, you
don't understand that. And so I put him in that same category as like that, because like it's not just because of who he is and what he's been to the industry and all of the areas he moves in, from producing to mixing to singing to playing. Like, he's influenced multiple areas and tapped in on multiple genres. And so singers call back to Dobie. Oh man, no, that's Dobie. He's chopped Dobie Powell. Players go back to, oh no, where'd you get that from? Got that from Dobie. You got this Dobie. That's Dobie. The style, that even like, because I remember when we was Dude was talking about he got irate one time. We were sitting back talking. He's like, man, he said this lo-fi stuff that they don't. He said, man, he said, I was doing that in 03, 04, bro. Like
what him and my Uncle Ivan was doing in church in the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm like, what people are just now getting hip to, I'm like, I don't say it don't move me.
Yeah.
But I heard these guys doing this stuff when they were just two-piecing it. After Kirk left, because James Cleveland discovered Kirk Carr in Hartford. And my father prayed over his career and said, you got my blessings to go out west. That's how Kirk Carr ended up in Cali. And then it was just a two-piece.
Forest Gump, bro.
It was just a two-piece band. It was my Uncle Ivan on organ, Dobie on drums, and the stuff they were doing back then was like, and I'm growing up, I'm a kid, so what was normal for me, I didn't know it wasn't normal for other people.
Yeah, this was life.
I didn't know this was like
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Uncle Ivan, that's a drop. That's a drop. He's dropping us out the sky in the 90s. He was doing that stuff, like some of the stuff, like, that Dobie, I'm pretty sure he let you hear.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he was coming up in the early 90s. It was like, I just grew up hearing that stuff. I didn't know it wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Until
he played something that your pops did. I can't think of the record. I don't even think it was a release record. It sounded like a rehearsal recording or something that he played for me when I was in Connecticut the last time.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, what's this? He's like, that's my pops. That's
wow.
Dad. And when I say, like, when they were playing, like, it was a line that went in there. The first thing I told you, I said, that sounds like the intro on 90% of gospel and today. That sounds like a gospel
it really is,
ballad intro or a gospel mid-tempo intro. It was just something crazy. And I was like, yo, that's what these cats is. He said that was in the 80s. I was like, what?
They was doing that
stuff. They was doing that stuff then.
They was doing that stuff way back then. But to your point, the original point, Dobie is definitely, we was sitting with Rob Glasper. It's funny, we was at the Blue Note with Rob Glasper. Shout out to the big homie Rob Glasper, man. But he actually said what you said to Dobie.
Really?
he said this. He considered Dobie like a Jay Dilla, for gospel, and then how he's impacting all these genres, because these people are listening to him, and you're seeing a lot of people who have literally tried to imitate his style.
Exactly.
And they're going and doing stuff and not giving him the credit.
Yo, thank you for watching that exclusive clip from the Hangout podcast. We drop these on the channel on Wednesdays, and we appreciate you guys for taking out the time and watching this. If you're interested in seeing more of these exclusive interviews that we have, make sure you check out the playlist over here. If you're interested in taking your production, mixing, or whatever to the next level, make sure you hit the links down below in the description. All right, we'll talk to you guys on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.